A very good evening, dear viewers. Welcome to the English News Bulletin here on Rwanda Television. We hope you had a good Wednesday. We'll begin with the headlines. Members of the Parliament have urged institutions, including the Ministry of Environment and the National Land Authority, to promptly resolve outstanding compensation cases owed to citizens. A delegation from Namibia is on an official visit to Rwanda to exchange best practices in defense, security, and correctional services. My name is Olive Nette, and it's always a pleasure to have your presence. Now let's kick off today's edition. We'll begin with this communiqué from the Office of the Prime Minister. On Wednesday, 28th January 2026, His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, chaired a cabinet meeting at Urugwiro village. The cabinet was briefed on the preparations for the upcoming Umushyikirano scheduled from 5th to 6th February 2026. The cabinet was briefed on the fees structure governing the carbon market in Rwanda. Rwanda's carbon market is designed to ensure fiscal transparency, prevent double counting of carbon credits, and to attract increased commitment to climate finance. The cabinet was briefed on the integrated labor management information system for supporting evidence-based employment planning and driving broader economic transformation. The cabinet approved the following draft laws. The draft law amending number 018/2025 of 30th June 2025, determining the state finances for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. The draft law governing public-private partnerships. The draft law amending law number 29/2017 of the 29th June 2017, establishing the long-term savings scheme Ejoheza and determining its organization. The draft law approving the ratification of the financing agreement between the Republic of Rwanda and the International Development Association relating to the credit for the revenue improvement and spending efficiency program for results operation, signed in Kigali on 13th January 2026, the draft law governing plant production, and also the draft law governing animal husbandry, animal health, and fisheries. They also approved the draft law governing the National Intelligence and Security Service. They also approved the draft law establishing the National Defense University Rwanda. The cabinet approved the following orders: the presidential order ratifying the host country agreement between the government of Rwanda and the Agence Universitaire de la Francophonie. The Prime Minister's order determining the composition, organization, and functioning of the privatization committee. Ministerial order determining modalities for granting long-term savings scheme Ejoheza. Ministerial order transferring the state land in the private domain to King Faisal Hospital, Rwanda. The cabinet approved applications for mineral and quarry licenses. The cabinet granted agreement to proposed diplomats representing countries and international organizations as follows: Ms. Rita Kiden-Lutua, Ambassador of the Republic of South Sudan, the Republic of Rwanda with residence in Kigali. Ms. Ali Isa Musaba Isa Al-Zabi, Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to the Republic of Rwanda with residence in Kigali. Ms. Olivia Charlotte Owen, High Commissioner of New Zealand to the Republic of Rwanda with residence in Addis Ababa. Mr. Gabriel Pandureni Sinimbo, High Commissioner of the Republic of Namibia to the Republic of Rwanda with residence in Dar es Salaam. Mr. Andrew Mould, Director of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Sub-Regional Office for Eastern Africa with residence in Kigali. The cabinet approved the following appointments. In the office of the government spokesperson, Mr. Jean-Maurice Uwera was made the deputy spokesperson. In the Ministry of Education, Mr. Jean Damascene Sendiumva was made the Director General of School Health and Wellness. Ms. Diane Kamana, the Director General of Corporate Services. Ms. Gervais Mabano, Pre-Primary and Primary Education Analyst. Ms. Divine Uwineza, General and Technical Secondary Education Analyst. In the National Electoral Commission, Mr. Gaspard Musonera was made Commissioner. In other things, the Minister of Sports informed Cabinet on the ongoing 27th Men's Senior African Handball Championship hosted in Rwanda from the 21st to the 31st January 2026. The Minister of Youth and Arts informed Cabinet of the Intergenerational Leadership Accelerator Conference to be hosted in Kigali from the 29th to the 31st January 2026, and this was made today, Kigali, 28th January 2026, digitally signed by the Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva, the Prime Minister. Now, moving ahead to other matters, members of the Parliament have urged institutions, including the Ministry of Environment and the National Land Authority, to promptly resolve outstanding compensation cases owed to citizens and to put an end to prolonged administrative delays. Affected residents report that they have waited for years to receive compensation assessed on their property earmarked for public interest projects across various parts of the country. The Parliamentary Committee on Governance Affairs and Gender held a session with the Ministry of Environment to review the Office of the Ombudsman's 2024-2025 activity report and the 2025-2026 action plan. Beyond delayed compensation payments, members of Parliament raised concerns about citizens who, after valuation of their property, are neither compensated nor permitted to continue economic activities on land designated for public projects. Legislators also highlighted cases of inaccurate valuation resulting in inadequate compensation, as well as misunderstandings that further prolong the compensation process. The committee questioned both the National Land Authority and the Ministry of Environment on accountability mechanisms in place to ensure citizens are compensated when errors are committed by government institutions. Addressing compensation concerns affecting communities surrounding Gishwati, the Director General of the National Land Authority, Ms. Marie-Grace Nishimya, outlined measures already undertaken to resolve the matter. On the issue of residents who have neither received compensation nor authorization to use land reserved for public interest developments, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Mr. Fidel Bingwa, explained that corrective measures are currently being implemented. It was also noted that disputes over land compensation related to the expansion of Gishwati boundaries involve 161 affected residents. Of these, 79 have been compensated, 46 declined the proposed compensation amounts, while others are in the process of completing required documentation to facilitate payment. Some residents who rejected the initial compensation offers are currently engaging in dialogue with the Rwanda Development Board to reach an amicable settlement, including reassessment and payment, without pursuing legal action. Now to other matters, the Parliamentary Committee on National Unity, Human Rights and the Fight Against Genocide has called on justice sector institutions to strengthen coordination and joint efforts to ensure that children facing criminal charges receive timely justice. These concerns were raised during a public accountability hearing held on Wednesday, which brought together the committee and key institutions, including the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, the National Public Prosecution Authority, and the Rwanda Bar Association. The discussions focused on issues highlighted in the 2024-2025 report of the National Commission for Human Rights. Based on its monitoring of human rights compliance, the National Commission for Human Rights reported that challenges requiring urgent attention persist in 112 police detention facilities. Regarding the detention of some children in Rwanda, Investigation Bureau custody in violation of legal provisions, as indicated in the 2024-2025 National Human Rights Commission report, the Secretary General of the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, Colonel Pacific Kaigamba Kabanda, explained that such cases arise from various circumstances. From July to December 2024, the National Public Prosecution Authority received 680 case files involving children. Of these, 306 cases were brought before courts, while 373 were provisionally closed. The Deputy Prosecutor General, Ruberwa Bonaventure, noted that the prosecution has sought to reduce the number of child-related court cases through the application of diversion and alternative dispute resolution policies. However, prosecution statistics show that between January and June 2025, the institution received 711 case files involving children, while the Human Rights Commission's report indicates that challenges persist in providing legal assistance to detained children. The Rwanda Bar Association reports that between 2020 and 2025, it has provided legal representation to 18,986 children, and the president of the Rwanda Bar Association, Moise Nkundabarashi, outlined some of the obstacles faced in ensuring effective legal aid for children before courts. During the discussions between members of the parliament and representatives from these institutions, participants identified several critical areas requiring intervention to ensure the delivery of the desired standard of justice. The law number 71/2018 relating to the protection of child under Article 24 stipulates that except in cases of reoffending, a child under investigation, regardless of the nature of the alleged offense, should not be arrested. A child may not only be placed in provisional detention if the offense carries a sentence exceeding 5 years of imprisonment. The National Commission for Human Rights confirmed that no children under the age of 14 were found detained if any of these 112 detention facilities inspected. Now to other matters. Earlier today, the Minister of Defense, Juvenal Marizamunda, received a delegation of members of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on International Relations, Defense and Security of the National Assembly of Namibia. Adam Squizera has the report.
The Namibian delegation is on a study visit to Rwanda aimed at exchanging best practices and policies and regulations related to international relations, defense and security. In his remarks, the Minister of Defense, Honorable Juvenal Marizamunda, welcomed the Namibian delegation and highlighted that Rwanda's remarkable transformation from a liberation army in the early 1990s into a modern, professional military institution that safeguards national sovereignty, contributes to national development, and plays a leading role in international peacekeeping missions.
Distinguished members of the delegation, welcome to Rwanda and welcome to the Minister of Defense and Rwanda Defense Force headquarters. The Rwanda Defense Force has undergone a remarkable transformation from a liberation army in the early 90s into a modern professional military institution that defends Rwanda's sovereignty, contributes to national development, and plays a leading role in international peacekeeping. This journey embodies our commitment to building a professional, accountable, and people-centered defense force aligned with Rwanda's broader vision of sustainable peace, security, and development. We believe that dialogue and mutual learning are essential to advancing our shared aspirations. As we engage with us today, we trust the discussion will be insightful, practical, and mutually enriching.
The delegation was also further briefed by the defense spokesperson, Brigadier General Ronald Grivanga, on the RDF transformation journey and contribution to regional peace and security. James Onamasa, chairperson of the delegation, appreciated the Ministry of Defense and RDF.
We have been briefed of a lot of activities that the Rwanda Defense Force is involved in, including insurgents missions under the UN, defense of the territories of many other countries, activities and action in Mozambique, and many peacekeeping missions throughout Africa. So we are appreciative of that. We have learned a lot of best practices. We will take that back home. We also invite the Rwanda Defense Force to come to Namibia to come and learn good practices that Namibia have also achieved, since we are one of the best defense forces in Africa and we have established ourselves. Today, Namibia is one of the most peaceful countries. We also came to learn from Rwanda, and Rwanda can indeed come and learn from Namibia.
For sharing their experiences and the journey of transformation in the security and defense sector.
This delegation from Namibia also visited the headquarters of the Rwanda Correctional Service to engage and learn more about Rwanda's best practices in the area of correctional services.
We have learned today successfully of how the Rwanda Correctional Service are actually reintegrating the inmates back into society. They make provision for key rehabilitation programs, some of them qualifying courses in terms of TVET, where all these inmates upon graduation from this very institution, they are eligible to be taken back into society and be employed. We also have learned that indeed they have children where an inmate comes pregnant and in the process give birth. The Rwandan government through the correctional services take and assumes the responsibility of bringing up this child, ensuring that this child is nurtured and subjected to the necessary child welfare programs. I think that's something that we have to actually take home. The other part is the biogas, where gas is produced actually from the fecal matter that emanates from the prison services, where manure is converted into gas, and 70% of the cooking that is taking place is coming from that very gas. I think that's a good way to go.
And the spokesperson of the Rwanda Correctional Service, CSP Hilary Sengabo, stated that Rwanda also has much to learn from Namibia.
Particularly in Namibia Prison Service, we intend to learn from them. They are based in open prison. They have very many open prisons that access inmates for reintegration, so we need to learn from them. They are also good at production activities. Compared to our production level and capacity, we need to learn from them.
The visit of the Namibian delegation follows the signing of a cooperation agreement between Rwanda and Namibia in 2025, which focuses on staff training, correctional programs, and improved prison management, and with the aim of enhancing the quality of service delivered in correctional facilities. Still on local matters, a study conducted in 2025 by the Ministry of Youth and Arts revealed that only 7.1% of artists hold a certificate issued by the RwandaTV board, the national authority responsible for promoting technical and vocational education and training. However, artists say this certificate is very important and much needed for development of this sector. We have details with Enora Gladys.
82.9% of artists in the country do not have a certificate that confirms their professional skills, an area of specialization. Some artists were informed about the importance of holding this certificate and how it can help them compete in the market. As a result, they committed to meeting the requirements in order to obtain this certification.
Today has been a really great eye-opener because when you look at the numbers, 7% of people who have the RTB accreditation to be able to offer certified, certifiable skills in the creative industry is extremely low. But what I really appreciated in this session is that it's not something that's now in the clouds or something that's far away. They've actually given us like bullet points. This is what's needed for people to be certified, and this is what's needed for an organization to be to receive the accreditation. But it's also answering one big challenge that people in the creative industry have been facing for a long time. Sometimes do calls, you want somebody to come and support you, but it's really rare that you will find somebody who has a certificate or an academic paper that's actually going to show you that they know things. People have passion, people have talent, but this is a step in the right direction now that they are going to be certified and the business owners are going to be tapping into a bigger market of candidates that are actually able to deliver on what's needed to really support the creative economy.
In 2024, the arts sector accounted for 7% of the country's gross domestic product and 1% of the total employment nationwide. By 2028, the arts sector is expected to generate $224 million in revenue for the country, equivalent to more than 325.5 billion Rwandan francs. The RwandaTV board highlights that it is ready to support artists in meeting the requirements needed to work professionally. It was very necessary. Rather, we can say that they did not know how it works. Some of their colleagues had already gone through the process, but they are few compared to those who have not, which is why we encourage others to join this program and train Rwandans. Rwanda's creative industry has experienced rapid growth, with the sector increasing 36-fold between 1999 and 2016 to reach 328 billion Rwandan francs. it is increasingly contributing to the GDP, with cultural services contributing 5% of the total stake of services in the national GDP as of 2023. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth and Arts, Brave Ngabo, notes that this certification will help artists in the development of their professional careers.
I also invited RTB to be on board so that they can help us as creative people, entrepreneurs, to create a convenient curriculum so that we can start giving the skills to the young people. So we are talking about job creation. That is actually someone who has been trained for 3-6 months with someone in the industry, but also being together with RTB is a person who's going to be either create a job or seek for a job with a certificate. The intention is to increase the contribution of creative sector into the Rwandan GDP. If you see 2 years ago, if you are to see the statistics, has been showing that more than 7% of the GDP has come from the creative sector. So as much as we train different people in different skills, so we will expand the creative economy through getting the jobs or becoming the entrepreneurs themselves. So it is something that we really think it is going to upgrade or increase our contribution as creative sector to the GDP of the country.
By 2029, Rwanda aims to transform its creative industry into a major economic driver, with a target of contributing 2% to the national GDP and representing 5% of the total workforce. This growth is part of a broader strategy to diversify the economy and reduce youth unemployment from over 20% to 10.85% by 2029.
Now, young people affirm that they should play a greater role in nation building by drawing inspiration from Rwanda's heroes, upholding the values of patriotism and hard work, pursuing self-development and contributing to national progress. Some female university students specializing in information and communication technology have chosen to use digital solutions to help individuals monitor and secure their property. They emphasize that young people must engage in acts of innovation and civic responsibility as a form of modern heroism. The director of Trust Me, Philbert Madiambere, who supports this group of young innovators, commended this country's leadership for liberating the nation and prioritizing youth inclusion in national development. He noted that continued government support is essential as young people possess innovative ideas that can significantly contribute to Rwanda's development. Nicholas Rwaka, Division Manager of Research on Heroism, Outstanding Achievers and Decorations at the Chancellery for Heroes, National Orders and Decorations of Honor, encouraged young people to fully leverage the opportunities provided by the country and to embrace Rwandan cultural values, urging them to follow in the footsteps of national heroes. The government of Rwanda continues to invest in programs aimed at empowering young people and strengthening their meaningful participation in the national development. According to the 5th Population and Housing Census conducted in 2022, individuals under the age of 30 account for 65.3% of Rwanda's population. Now to Gatsibo district, residents in this district have expressed satisfaction with the ongoing rollout of electricity in their area, praising the relevant authorities for providing electricity meters through an affordable and flexible payment system. Under this arrangement, beneficiaries are able to pay gradually without having to travel to the Rwanda Energy Group offices, as was previously the case. Nyabikiri Cell in Kabarore sector is among the areas being connected to the national electricity grid. To date, electricity poles have been installed, power lines erected, and household electricity meters fitted. Residents report that by the end of March 2026, they are expected to begin using electricity. The supplied power is 3-phase electricity, which is suitable for both household and productive users. Local residents have welcomed the development with great enthusiasm, noting that access to electricity will end long-standing energy poverty and serve as a catalyst for socio-economic development. They also commended the government for easing access to electricity meters through the pay-as-you-go model. Gatsibo district authorities have confirmed that during the current performance contract period, the district plans to distribute 16,000 electricity meters, corresponding to same number of households. This process is expected to proceed smoothly, according to the Deputy Mayor of Gatsibo District in charge of economic development, Sekanyange Jean Leonard. Working in collaboration with various development partners, Gatsibo District aims to expand electricity access across all 14 sectors. The objective is to increase household electricity coverage from the current 70% to 90% within the next 12 months during the current fiscal year. Thank you, dear viewers, for staying with us. This marks the end of tonight's bulletin. On behalf of the entire news team, we wish you a good night.